Gervonta "Tank" Davis has been unbeatable, defeating every fighter who has dared to challenge him. But there's a rising concern in the boxing community. Is Tank losing focus? Eddie Hearn has stirred the pot, claiming that, while Davis may easily win his next bout against Lamont Roach, the real issue is Shakur Stevenson. But could a squabble be brewing? Davis has had his doubters, and recent performances have raised questions about whether the undefeated champion is still the force he once was. Tonight, we look into what's actually going on with Tank Davis. Tank Davis's upcoming showdown versus Lamont Roach means a lot. Roach, who is coming off a strong victory and stepping up in weight, hopes to build a name for himself in the lightweight division. Though Davis has been dominant, Roach is known for being tough, particularly his ability to take a punch. While many analysts predict a knockout from Davis, Roach has the tenacity and resolve to keep things interesting. His confidence is contagious, but it only goes so far when you're up against one of boxing's most powerful punchers. The forthcoming battle between Davis and Roach is being discussed by both fans and analysts. The odds favor Tank, as they always do, but there is more to this matchup than meets the eye. Lamont Roach, despite not being as well known as other prominent names in boxing, has quietly built a strong reputation. He's known for his tenacity and ability to survive storms, making him an intriguing opponent for Tank. Despite increasing his weight to 135 pounds, Roach has held his own in sparring and conditioning, demonstrating that he is not going to give up lightly. Tank's reputation as a knockout artist is well earned, but Roach is not afraid by it. If anything, he sees it as motivation to prove everyone wrong. But here's where things become really interesting. Eddie Hearn, a well-known boxing promoter, has made some controversial comments. He suggested that Lamont Roach could upset Tank Davis. Now, this may appear to be just another ploy to generate interest in the battle, but there is an underlying message. Hearn, who has been involved in some of the most significant boxing promotions in recent years, is not one to make such pronouncements without reason. He believes Roach has a chance, albeit a slim one, but what's more intriguing is that Hearn does not regard Roach as Davis's most serious threat. No, according to Hearn, Shakur Stevenson is Tank Davis's genuine obstacle. Stevenson, who has progressively risen through the lightweight category, is now one of the most talked-about fighters in boxing. His recent exploits have cemented his status as one of the most skilled fighters in the game today. And while Tank Davis has been knocking out opponents like a wrecking ball, Stevenson has been patiently waiting for his chance. Hearn's words served as a subliminal reminder that, while Davis may have his hands full with Roach, Stevenson has the potential to give him the toughest fight of his career. Shakur Stevenson is no stranger to controversy, and his ambition is what has made him such an appealing character in boxing. Following his overwhelming victory over Josh Padley, Stevenson is now considered one of the top contenders for a fight with Tank. What makes this bout so compelling isn't simply Stevenson's talent, it's also the story behind it. Stevenson has been vocal about his desire to fight Tank for quite some time. The fans, the media, and, most crucially, Stevenson all want it. He has made it obvious that he would not stop until he gets his crack at the title. And now, with Tank fighting Roach, Stevenson is calmly waiting at ringside, keeping a watchful eye on every move Tank makes. But there's a twist to this story. Stevenson has been eyeing Tank, but he has also been dealing with his own set of issues. Stevenson has always struggled with delicate hands. There's no doubting that his hands have been an issue, since they've been prone to injury in previous battles. According to Eddie Hearn, Stevenson's hands have taken a beating in previous battles, but there has been no structural damage. The question now is how long Stevenson can continue fighting at the highest level without his hands entirely breaking down. Some observers say Stevenson's frail hands are the sole reason he has never fought Tank. Stevenson understands that the clock is ticking, but his concentration remains on the fight he desperately desires, which is against Tank Davis. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford, one of the world's top pound-for-pound boxers, has his own take on the Tank versus Roach matchup. Crawford, who is no stranger to high-level competition, has been following Tank's ascent to the top with interest. According to Crawford, Davis has faced opponents who lack the mental fortitude to go the distance with him. They may have the talents, but as the pressure builds and Tank unleashes his devastating power shots, they disintegrate. Crawford believes Tank's might is what distinguishes him, but it also makes his opponents mentally weak. They may be skilled in their own right, but they lack the courage to face Tank's attack. But here's the kicker. Crawford believes that only two fighters, Shakur Stevenson and Kenson Davis, have the mental fortitude and talent level to legitimately confront Tank. Crawford believes that only these two boxers have the potential to go the distance with Tank and emerge victorious. This adds another degree of interest to Stevenson's probable clash with Davis. Crawford has witnessed personally the kind of mentality required to overcome a fighter like Tank. It's not just about skill, it's about having the mental fortitude to stay sharp under pressure and not crumble when the blows start coming. As much as many are talking about Lamont Roach's potential upset, this fight is most likely simply a stepping stone for Tank Davis. Roach is a capable combatant, but he is not on the same level as Tank. Hearn, in typical manner, sparks controversy by challenging Tank's focus. The concept that Davis is becoming bored with his supremacy is not something you would expect to hear from a fighter who is supposed to be at the peak of his game. But Hearn's comments strike a chord, raising an important question. Is Tank losing the fire that made him such a deadly force in the ring? The truth is that Tank has faced little competition in recent years. He's encountered several fighters who haven't been able to push him in the same manner that others have. Critics point out that, while Tank's knockout record is great, it lacks the prominent names that will truly define his career. The debate rages on. Is Tank avoiding the lightweight division's most difficult challenges? While Devin Haney, Vasily Lomachenko, and, of course, Shakur Stevenson are all in the mix, Davis has yet to meet any of them in a competitive battle. That's the true issue. Tank's opponents haven't been on top of their game when they faced him. And now, as rumors of a confrontation with Stevenson spread, Tank is out of excuses. The prospective fight between Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson is what fans have been yearning for. It has the potential to define Tank's career and provide answers to all of his legacy questions. But, first and foremost, Davis must demonstrate his continued dominance. A dominant performance against Lamont Roach might accomplish that, but it's evident that Stevenson is waiting in the wings, ready to pounce when the moment comes. The tension is rising, and the battle everyone wants to see is becoming closer by the day. If Tank Davis can knock out Lamont Roach in a devastating fashion, he may be able to silence some of his doubters and demonstrate that he is still the force he once was. But if Roach pulls off an upset, it may alter the entire picture of the lightweight category. As much as Stevenson is willing to step up, it's evident that Tank must face significant hurdles before he can claim to be the division's king. The stakes are at an all-time high, and the anticipation for a Davis-Stevenson bout builds with each passing moment. Finally, it's not just about who wins the next battle. It's about what happens next for Tank Davis. Is he still the unstoppable force that we all assumed he was, or is he losing focus? The discussion continues, but one thing is certain. Boxing fans are eagerly anticipating the moment when Tank Davis fights Shakur Stevenson in the ring. That is the fight that will define the future of the lightweight division, and possibly the future of boxing itself.